From the This Is Me campaign. I'm sorry, I'm late, traffic, all the rest. Brilliant turnout, and thank you so much for coming along. And I love to see how together everybody looks, how calm everybody is. We're not those savage animals that Graham Linehan says we are. He demonises trans activists, comparing it to Nazism. I don't think any of you look like Nazis standing here today, and can we keep that tone on it? Nice and calm, collected, as we always are, because we know who we are. So I just want to read out a little statement. Sorry, I'm shaking. I haven't eaten or slept in about 2 days. And it's cold, yeah. So, Graham Linehan has no formal education, experience or expertise in subjects relating to trans identities, gender recognition legislation or healthcare, so does not deserve a voice in this most sensitive conversation on RTE. This is especially evident in his constant tyranny of abuse and harassment of the trans community, continually spreading a highly damaging transphobic narrative. His massively inappropriate comments and harassment of trans people have recently resulted in 2 formal warnings from the UK police, and also resulted in him being removed from social media platforms for our safety. By RTE allowing such a dangerous, to our community, individual to have airtime in this conversation proves that they are succumbing to rage-bait reporting. And although this may create conversation, it's not the conversation that we will benefit from, or that will allow our community to lead happy, safe, unstigmatised lives. By giving airtime to Graham Linehan's incorrect ideologies will create a very dangerous existence for trans people in Ireland. No one is more expert in trans lives than trans people. This conversation must include trans people and those with educated experience in subjects relating to trans identities. And this is whom Primetime should be featuring to ensure complete accuracy of the information being shared by the general public. From what I can see and the messages that the campaign has gotten over the past week, is that there's the feeling amongst the trans community is one of fear. Fear that our recent progress and acceptance and understanding will be hindered and reversed. Fear that this public figure's ideologies will inadvertently give others permission to see us as he does, allowing for an increase in transphobia in both a verbal and physical form. By legitimising or even giving attention to Graham Linehan's views, the consequences for trans people will be colossal. As people who may not be informed about trans identities or are on the fence about the legitimacy of our identities, his views can influence their thoughts, allowing for an increase in misinformation and opinion and transphobia. This will affect the mental health and possibly the physical well-being of trans people. Nothing good can come from his views being expressed publicly. For a community that has to fight every step of the way to access even basic healthcare, views such as Graham Linehan's will contribute to a system where trans people are already set up for failure. By encouraging a narrative that trans people shouldn't be allowed to medically transition, it risks seeping deeper into society and further affecting our already dire trans healthcare system in Ireland. And it's not only Graham Linehan. We heard today that Stella O'Malley is going to be featured in the show tonight. And for those who don't know Stella O'Malley, she created a really, really controversial documentary on Channel 4 suggesting that trans children are being pushed into transition. This hurts our community too. Not only that, but are the very medical professionals in Ireland that we rely on being featured in this documentary as well. We know that there are only 2 trans individuals on this show tonight, and as I said earlier on, the best experts on trans lives and trans identities are trans people, and they are who we need to hear from, not someone who doesn't even live in Ireland and has some sort of personal vendetta against people like me and people like you and your friends and your family. We don't need to hear from them. And what I want everyone here to know today is that you don't need anybody to legitimise you. Just yourself, and especially not some idiot like him. So please give yourselves a round of applause for coming out today. And I want to just add one last thing for RTE, if they're listening. You need to hire someone else to do your research, because by stating that the proposals for the Gender Recognition Act review will allow children to legally change their gender without parental consent is absolutely 100% untrue and fear-mongering for the general public. The proposals clearly state that parental consent for children who want to avail of a gender recognition certificate, that parental consent is integral in that. So RTE, do some research and stop sharing this fear-mongering agenda. They're succumbing to rage-bait reporting, and we don't need it. They should do no harm to their general public as our national broadcaster, and they are doing a lot of harm. And I can tell you the fallout from this over the next week is going to be colossal. And no, the government aren't going to pick up the pieces. RTE aren't going to pick up the pieces. Our health service aren't going to pick up the pieces. The people who are going to pick up the pieces are small campaigns like ours, low or non-funded organisations such as TENI and Belong To, and prominent individuals in the community, and yourselves. We're the ones going to pick up the pieces from this fallout, nobody else, and it shouldn't be happening in the first place.
Get all that thing there.